So we're pretty much home free now for getting to all the wiring back in here. You can see all the wiring is very accessible to get to now that we moved everything. The only thing left that I am going to remove real quick is this box that's on top here. It's like for the fuel tank, it's like a fuel vapor box or something that goes up on top. So we're gonna just take those two clamps off and remove that box. On the passenger side hood hinge, there's a switch here. I'm assuming it might be for a light or an alarm. There's two wires here that when I got the car were not connected, so I don't know where that goes. And then there is a wire which I have actually marked that goes, and those wires attach against the firewall right there. This wire here is actually the wire that goes to the seat indicator, and also one of the other wires that goes to the ignition switch. And this one here is the one that goes to the door switch on the passenger side door switch. And then as we work our way, you can see the wire goes to that clamp and this clamp. We have all these wires pan out to there. And then as we go down, you'll see that there's another wire that goes into the firewall here. That was the actual wire that goes to the air control center on the dash. Just a note on the wiring, when we pulled out this blower box, there's two wires here that are close to each other. I would assume that they should be connected, but they are not. But I just want to make a note that that these two wires were behind the blower box, disconnected. Below there, there's another wire with a grommet around it. That wire supplies the air conditioning stuff in here. You can see there's the wires that are going down in there and over. It supplies the power to the fan motor and so forth. That's that one. And then as we keep on going over, here again where all the wires go. We have another set of wires that go into a clamp there. And the part that's important to me too is now we're all the way over to the other side. You can see that not much. There's those wires in the back. Those are those two connectors that we've seen before on the top that go in there, and those that go in the firewall there. All those wires actually end up going down into here. That's the wire that goes to the door switch on the driver's side. Underneath the wiring harness there is a bolt that all the ground wires go to. So that bolt, that nut is going to have to get removed before you can remove the wiring harness. This is it here next to the hinge. It goes all the way down to the I would consider the main wiring harness. That has the majority of the wires. You're going to see that right before the fuse block, about 12 inches up, there's another wire that comes out to the side and goes down into next to the fuel tank with this connector on it here. With this connector, this was unconnected. This was disconnected when I got here. I am assuming it goes to the fuel sender or the fuel pump on the Porsche. And underneath here, you'll see that there is a clamp that's holding that wire in place, along with a couple of fuel lines as well too that go in there. So. Okay, so from there on the passenger side, you'll see on the side there's a little nipple right there. You're going to need to push that little rubber nipple out. This is, I'm assuming, because this car does not have electric windows, that this is where the power would have gone into the door for the power window. So I'm just pushing that rubber through there so I can get this out. There. Okay, so you can see that it's pushed out. And on the other side, you can see it's like a little wire connector. And it's just, they just store it there. There's the side I pushed out. It would just store it on the side so you can plug stuff into it, but I'm pretty sure that's the power circuit for if this car would have had electric windows. So we just remove that. The next rubber grommet we want to remove and push into the firewall is going to be the this grommet here, which was the air conditioning control, and we just want to push that through to the firewall so we can start just slowly moving all the wiring. And that one's out now. Underneath the dash, there are 3 connectors, as you can see. The very first one here, which is the furthest away from the driver's side door, goes directly to the ignition switch. The center one goes to the windshield wiper switch on the steering column, and the last one, which is closest to the driver's side door, goes to the turn signal. So this first connector right here, that's the headlight switch. That's located towards the front of the car. And right next to it, there's another connector. I'm gonna disconnect that. That's actually for the hazard light. That connector is towards the back of the car. So we have to remember that when we install it, that gets installed back in the same spot again. Okay, so there's a wiring harness, the main wiring harness for all the gauges and everything removed, going up to the fuse panel. There's still a couple other wiring harnesses we need to remove. We got the one here that goes up and over and down to the wiring harness, which supplies the air conditioner, everything for the air conditioning. And then we have this other harness here that I'm assuming goes to the back of the engine, but we'll find out for sure where that goes. And by the way, on the main wiring harness, a good note to know, in typical Porsche fashion, you do not need to cut any of the wires. You can completely remove the harness from the car without cutting or removing any wires, except of course for the 2 door switches that I showed you. But other than that, the wiring harness can be removed in one solid piece.